Everyone, my name is Glen Mourning, and I am an elementary teacher in Washington, D.C. So my kid series titled Crunchy Life are books that I've written for boys and girls ages 8 to 10.
As mentioned, we'll be discussing Black fathers are our superheroes. One of the first things we wanted to talk about is the perception of Black fathers and father figures in both the media as well as kind of like the public eye.
To be a strong Black man has always been like this personified, I can't cry, I can't be weak, I can't show that I need help. But I think the shift has been realizing that life is not meant to be lived alone regardless.
What ways do you all think that we are reversing that stereotype and stepping up to the plate?
So I think to some of the success that all three of you may have, and you mentioned it, is that you are in community with other Black men who are living positive lives. So in order to shift that dynamic, we have to actually support one another in a sense that doing it by yourself might seem like it's a strength, but actually when you're vulnerable enough to ask for help from the right people and to let people pour into your life and be mentored, and to have that community of just positive reinforcement even for yourself before you try to pour into kids, I think that's where a lot of the change has started.
The next thing that I want to talk about is basically the involvement or lack thereof of Black fathers and father figures in the schools and the effect that it has on these kids.
Especially some of our boys, because the very moment that it's broken down to them by time, I remember I found out that my mom and dad, whatever happened, I was like 9, and then it was like a blame game from then out. Everything that was going wrong in her life, it was like because of him, because of him, because of him, because of him. So there's a sense that you'll never be good enough for him to come back, because then it becomes something that you feel is your fault. So a lot of our boys are like, well, this situation is my fault. So they're carrying a burden that has no place on their plate as a 9 and 10-year-old moving forward.
What are some of the effects that you noticed by not having Black fathers in children's books?
So I'm going to read this, and hopefully not only will I consume some of those values that might not be taught explicitly, but it's a role model that is in the form of a lesson. It's in a role model in the form of written expression, to the point where we said, now we have some of our boys that we go visit, and quote me if I'm wrong, some boys that I know for a fact are like, yo, I'm gonna be in the NFL. When their teachers or schools reach back out to me, they're like, yo, all of our boys want to be writers now. Education and writing is the way out. And then when you make it out, make sure you go back and you get back into a role where you can give back to the community and become a teacher after living here your whole life, and try to do something about it physically, actively fixing some of those problems that you see on a day-to-day basis.